Hi there, and welcome to the IBAC Tech Trek podcast, where we explore the outer reaches of insurance technology. I'm your science officer on this journey, Tom Reid, and today, beaming aboard to join me is James Warburton, CEO at Gore, and Shane Mannion, IT VP at Gore. Guys, how's it going?
Good, thanks. How are you? I'll need to tell Andy that you've promoted me to CEO, but I'm the CIO, not the CEO.
Okay, I must have slurred my words. I meant to say CIO. Although, who knows? Maybe I've just let the cat out of the bag. All right. So, James, tell us how you became CIO at Gore. What's your backstory?
Yeah, so I've been at Gore for nearly 2.5 years, I think, and prior to that, worked in insurance and technology throughout my career in Canada, at Aviva, working across commercial insurance and then IT proper in platforms there. And my career prior to that was all around technology consulting and business consulting. So my role here is looking after the sort of end-to-end technology from security all the way through to projects and EPM.
And Shane.
Yeah, I'm with Gore for about 2 years as well, just a little over 2 years. Prior to that, I was with Aviva Canada for 6 years, moved to Canada in 2016, and I had about 12 years at Aviva Ireland before that. So we're in technology for quite a while.
Well, I feel a bit disadvantaged here. I'm the only one sans accent, so I'll have to.
No, you're the only one with an accent.
So that's right. Shoe is on the other foot. All right. Awesome. Okay, so let's talk technology since we have the brain trust of Gore's tech team here with us. So seems like every carrier in Canada is moving to predominantly Guidewire, although some Duck Creek, a lot of work going on to upgrade old legacy back office systems. Are you guys doing that as well?
We are. So I'll start, and then I think Shane's got a perspective on our implementation, because our journey's a bit probably I think we're a little bit further on than some others, maybe not quite as far on as some of our competitors, but we're in a good spot. So we around 3 years ago started a transformation to replace all of our legacy with Guidewire. That's done effectively, and we were on all lines of business, all X centers, so claims, policy, billing. And we just kicked off our migration actually to the latest cloud platform, where we're really excited about all of the new capabilities that Guidewire are bringing in, all of the new sort of business opportunities that gives us, but also technology. The cloud platform allows us to be much more agile with our releases and therefore with our capabilities that we can deliver to our business, helping brokers, helping customers. So we're fairly well on there, and it wasn't just a Guidewire change. We did look at all of replacing all of our legacy, and we've got in, and I might touch on it later, a new call center application, which is one of the leading call center apps you can have, and again, some of the access that gives us to the cloud native capabilities out there with our cloud partners and with Guidewire. We're really excited about what's coming, and I think Shane has a perspective on perhaps how we implemented Guidewire in the first place, and he can definitely tell you more detail what we're looking forward to with that cloud platform.
Yeah, it was one of the things that attracted me to Gore was the Guidewire implementation and how quickly it had been executed and how forward-looking the entire management team here were around technology, that technology was at the heart of how we're going to evolve as a business. We're 185 years old, but we're a very modern company in a lot of ways. So it's fantastic to be on Guidewire and to be getting the capability there, and the migration is exciting for sure. I'm a technologist, so a lot of the technology in there and the architecture is really best of breed and cutting edge, but also the focus on the wider ecosystem and now the focus on decommissioning to make sure that any of the legacy systems that we have, that we shut them down properly. We take care of all of the regulatory components of that and so on. So that frees up resource. If we have 20% of our resources looking after legacy, be it patching or vulnerability management, then that's 20% that we're not spending on innovation. So we really want to get to end of job on that and then be able to focus fully on getting the most of this modern architecture that we'll have.
I'd say even if you're only focusing 20% on legacy, that's still relatively good, comparatively speaking. So I'm glad to hear that you're even going to push past that. So technology is great, but at the end of the day, technology is there to support business, right? So maybe you can talk about some things that you have done or are about to do that supports a broker's ability to grow their business and obviously grow Gore at the same time. But what do you see that you guys have done to support that particular outcome?
So I can go. I mean, we with the implementation very recently, we did put in place new products. So we've got Telematics out there, which we're really excited about. And I know that perhaps just brought us up to the level of some of the other carriers out there. But having new products in the market is, we hope, is going to help our brokers. And also, it's not a one-to-one, I suppose, is how I think about this. We've improved our technology. We're always improving our process. We're trying to improve our service to our brokers, and we're also investing in APIs, which I know we'll get to later. But the all of that combined is really how are we helping in terms of effectiveness and efficiency for both our teams and the brokers' teams, and it's hard to sort of go, we did this in technology, we did this, but when you combine it together, that I know we're getting much better feedback in the last 18 months of how we're working, how we're able to service brokers, how we're able to respond. Our SLAs are getting much better, and the hope there, I mean, as much as hope isn't a strategy, the idea there is that that time can then be used in better places to support our brokers and ultimately to make our customers better.
Your hope isn't a strategy. You're giving me flashbacks to a former mutual boss of ours in Greg Somerville.
So it wasn't him, but I won't mention his name, but if he listens to this, he'll know who it is. Yeah, I did steal it.
Okay. So joking aside, when you take friction out of the system, that is an opportunity to reinvest resources into growth, right? So to me, if you're making things more efficient, more effective, less hurdles, absolutely that allows a broker to grow. You can't help directly a broker sell particular products, although having new products definitely helps. But freeing up a broker's time is what you can do. I've always opined that insurance is a grudge purchase, but you can make it even more annoying than it already is, or you can make it less annoying. You talked about putting a call center in. Maybe that's an example here, but what have you done that potentially improves a broker's ability to serve their clients?
So we have that Amazon Connect solution, which is best of breed in terms of call center technology. We implemented it a few years ago as part of our next transformation. And what we're seeing with the platform is the new capabilities that are coming through are really exciting. It had base level functionality, but now we're seeing great stuff come through, like review of calls, like scheduling to make sure we've got the right coverage on the phones at all times, reporting on wait times so that we have a good insight into what's our broker experience like. And that's a platform that, we're all thinking about Gen AI now. That's a platform where Gen AI is going to plug into very naturally over the next couple of years. So by having the right technology in place, it's a big enabler for being able to move at the right pace to be able to meet the expectations of the brokers. We like to put ourselves in the broker's shoes and understand what their pain points are, and then how can we address them, and how can, in partnership with our own business and our broker distribution team, what are the things that are pain points for the brokers? And we feel that getting that communication piece over the phones right is a key point.
So that's great. Have you, I imagine you have talked to brokers about what your plans were and what some of the outcomes of those plans are. What kind of feedback are you getting from brokers with these new implementations?
So I know recently we did reach out to some brokers, and we do, I believe we do broker satisfaction surveys and calls as well after, and we are seeing an improvement there. I think the point you touch on, Tom, is around could we partner more? I think the answer is yes, and I'm not talking specifically about the call center, but for me, it's really important that we really understand the problem to solve. And I think something we're focusing on internally, and now we're thinking about externally, is how do we turn technology into true like business value delivery? And that's whether that's internal business value or broker and supporting. So you will see a shift from Gore, I think, over the next 18 months around understanding what is that true problem. And for our top brokers, what is it really that we need to do versus assuming everybody's the same. I think sort of not understanding the sort of collective problem is one of the challenges. So understanding the collective problem and then putting tech solutions in place that solve the collective problem is where we need to go.
So you alluded to API connectivity earlier in the conversation. So there is an important industry initiative going on. It was initiated by IBAC, currently being managed by CSIO, and that project is taking the work that Warburton has done in connectivity and sharing that with other interested carriers, which Gore is one of. So can you just give me your honest feedback on that initiative, and what do you think about it?
Yeah, I think it's a very, very worthwhile, important initiative. I'm relatively new to Canada, but when I speak to folks who've been here for a while, they say this is a problem we've been trying to solve for 20 years and we still haven't solved it. And there's a sense of apathy at times around, well, we haven't solved it in 20 years. How are we going to solve it now? But I do feel like this has given a push, just an extra bit of energy into trying to solve for it. And I really appreciate what the Wawanesa team have done around making their standards available, making their implementation available. My team have connected with them on several occasions to walk through what it is that they've done and to just get some support and insight into, which version of the CSIO standard are they on, how are we going to map to what we have to what they have, and so on. So we have Quote implemented already. We've had Quote API implemented for some time. We're looking to revisit that, to align it more closely with what Wawanesa have delivered, so that we're in at the ground floor and we're part of this initiative moving forward. The next one that we would look at would be Bind. That's next on that list. And then the inquiry ones are really exciting, I think. I love to think of a future where there's a critical mass of carriers that have all the inquiry, claims, policy and billing delivered and certified and part of the BMS ecosystem, so that any broker just goes to their BMS and does their claims inquiry or billing inquiry through the BMS, and that's consistent for everybody. And it would just improve the workflow for brokers so much. And I really feel that the Wawanesa initiative is a big step forward towards that future, and that if we can get that critical mass of people on board, that it will be the shift that we've been trying for 20 years.
Well said. I'm going to cut that part out and use that as our marketing for this whole initiative, because that was absolutely perfect. I literally could not have said that better myself. So thank you for that. So I think you've answered my next question, was talking about commitment to actually doing something, right? So actually being in the meetings, talking in the meetings, doing the analysis, that's all good. But unless these are implemented, as you said, in sort of a critical mass of carriers, it's all for naught, right? So I'm not even going to answer this question because I hear you're already, or maybe you want to answer the question.
I'd like to answer it, and the reason I'd like to answer it, I think there's. So, are we committed? Absolutely, but I think your point around commitment is putting money where your mouth is, or capacity where your mouth is. Maybe we're doing that, and I do think there's an element where, because the first question you asked was, have we done our transformation and are we going through it? Well, we're still going through a huge change next year. For us, the cloud platform migration is massive. Lots of capacity, but I don't think, and I don't believe it should be, just as Wawanesa don't believe this, that large transformation and improving API connectivity and supporting your brokers, I don't think they should be mutually exclusive. So we had to, and we did, as we were going into planning for next year, find a way to continue with our transformation and keep going with our connectivity. So Shane did say it perfectly in terms of why this is important. And I think it's important to put your capacity where your mouth is.
We'd have to cut that part out and use that too, because that was also perfect. Thank you, James. So you've talked a bit about getting feedback from brokers through a variety of sources. The broker associations, where do they factor into input on your development plan?
So I love where the WAWA piece has come through IBAC into CZO, building that out through a community in that forum. That I think has been a great initiative. Tom, you and I connect regularly around what are we doing on eDocs, what are we doing on APIs, and you have an insight from speaking to so many different stakeholders in the industry that is really helpful to me. So I hugely value what IBAC have done and what you personally have done in trying to move this forward, because I think this is something that the WAWA piece in particular that you've really gotten behind over the last couple of years, and that it is where it is because of you and others like you that have really got stuck in there and decided that this needs to happen. So yeah, very important, really, really important for us at Gore.
And maybe I'll just add, I think getting, and Tom, you asked the question, right? Getting broker insights. I think without getting broker insights, without getting industry view, it's easy to say you need API connectivity, but then how do you do that? As you peel the onion, what does that really mean? And you're only going to really understand what's important with industry insights. So hugely important. We are, especially with this, connectivity is going to support us all and help us all. So we should all be sharing our views and why do we need to do this collectively. So yeah, absolutely, it's critical to the success.
I should add here that one of the hurdles that we overcame as a group with input from yourselves and some of the other carriers and so on was that when it comes to connectivity, the actual moving of the data back and forth, which is what an API does, is not a competitive advantage. So there should be industry collaboration on the how. What you do with the data after it arrives at your doorstep and what a broker does when they send it or receive it or what have you, that's where the competitive advantage comes from. And that is unique to each organization. But that actual movement of the data is the problem, in this case, the problem we're trying to solve, such that you get good data that you can use it to have competitive advantage, etc. Early in the initiation of the project, I had a number of people saying, well, this is anti-competitive. And then as a group, we were able to get to the point where we understood that, hey, you know what, that's not true. This is plumbing. It's infrastructure. It needs to be common and consistent. I used to give this example. There's a highway out in southwestern Ontario that connects, I think, Guelph and some other small town, and it's farmland. And it's a straight 2-lane highway, and it goes for about 25 kilometers. And all of a sudden, there's a 90-degree angle turn, and it goes about 100 yards to the right, and another 90-degree angle turn, and it goes back left and continues straight. And I was always intrigued with this because there's no mountain in the way, there's no river, there's nothing that suggests why this road had to curve. And it turns out that 2 teams of road crews started from either end of the cities, and they got their signals crossed, and they were 100 yards apart. And when they met, they went, "What are you doing over there?" so they had to build this massive double set of 90-degree turns. And that's, when you don't have a consistent approach to things, you end up doing, weird stuff in the middle. And you have to have consensus on building infrastructure. Otherwise, you end up with weird highways that don't work properly.
I wondered where you were taking that, Tom, but yeah, we're all in for straight roads.
The world of insurance is changing because the world of tech is changing. Join us on the journey at ibactech.ca.